What's going on, y'all? Boy, Derek's Gray here, back in for another video, and this time I'm here for my spoiler-free review of Deadpool and Wolverine. Man, this movie, the movie everyone's been waiting for, the movie to potentially save the summer movie season. Although Inside Out, did amazing, right? But I don't think that was summer technically. Anyway, Deadpool, Wolverine, man, the people. If it's not going to save the summer movie season, people at least think that it's going to save the MCU, right? That it is going to bring the MCU back. Marvel's back, baby! Is that what this movie is? Is that what it does? Let's talk about it. So yeah, I'm going to keep this spoiler free, right? As much as possible. I'm gonna try to get a spoiler filled video filmed so that I can have it up sometime this weekend, because I have a pretty busy weekend ahead of me work wise. So yeah, try to keep it non spoiler, man. Deadpool Wolverine, the third Deadpool film, right? Deadpool officially joins the MCU, and with him, he is bringing back Hugh Jackman from the dead, right? Hugh Jackman's Wolverine from the dead. And first things first, right? The question everyone had, ever since this movie was announced that, Hugh Jackman's coming back, they've been talking about, how are they going to deal with Logan? Is this going to piss on the memory of Logan, that great, amazing movie that, in my opinion, is a top 5 comic book movie of all time, right? Will it make that movie feel like less important? Will it tarnish the legacy of that movie and the amazing end it gave Hugh Jackman's Wolverine? I can tell you, it doesn't. It doesn't. Like, they do not shy away in this movie. They do not shy away from the fact that, yeah, Logan was an amazing movie, a fantastic movie. We don't want to mess that up, and they don't. The way that they go about introducing this Wolverine variant, and his backstory and his traumas and everything that he has to deal with, that makes him completely different from the Wolverine we've seen in the X-Men films, right? They do a fantastic job. Like, this Wolverine is much more grumpy. Like, he's much closer to the comics in that regard. I honestly think that, in a weird way, this was Hugh Jackman's best outing as Wolverine, because he was just pure, unadulterated Wolverine, just constantly mad, constantly angry. Like, you don't get that in the X-Men films, right? Because in the X-Men films, he's much more of the main character than he is in the comics, right? In the comics, Wolverine's not the main character of X-Men. Like, there are comic runs where it's, about Wolverine and X-Men characters show up, but he's not like the main guy, right? He's not at the forefront like people would think because of the movies. But because of the movies, he's like our main central character. I felt like they dial his anger and his moodiness back a bit. Like, yeah, he gets angry and whatnot, but like, Wolverine usually is not in a good mood. There are certain characters that will bring him out of those bad moods and get him to crack a smile and a joke here and there. But this Wolverine in this movie, in Deadpool Wolverine, just constantly upset, constantly annoyed, constantly just cursing up a storm, everything. This is Wolverine. This is Hugh Jackman's best performance as Wolverine. Maybe not best performance, like pure acting wise, because I think that's Logan, but in terms of how much he feels like the character to this movie, right? Because in that movie, he's, the old man Logan at the end, right? But this combined with the suit, and it's just chef's kiss, man. Like, dude's been out of the game for like like 5 years, 6 years or so, right? Since Logan. And he hasn't lost a step. Hugh Jackman's still killing his Wolverine. And I think this movie has some of the best Wolverine action we've seen. Logan absolutely had amazing Wolverine action. But again, the fact that he's in a suit, and even the way that he moves, and I think they used some CGI to enhance it, but the way that he moves and fights, he's a lot more hunched down. Like, everyone knows that Hugh Jackman's taller than Wolverine actually is in the comics. But in this movie, even though, yeah, he's still that tall, a lot of the times when he's in the fight, like, he really gets down. It really looks like how Wolverine's supposed to look and fight, just down, low to the ground, just slashing, all that shit, So, yeah, That is to say, Hugh Jackman was phenomenal as Wolverine. And that obviously there's another name in the title, Deadpool. Ryan Reynolds. How was he in this movie? He's Deadpool. Like, this is his third time doing this. Since the first movie in the actual costume. I'm not talking about origins. And he's just, honestly, I think this might be the funniest he's been as Deadpool, at least in sections, right? Like, the opening to this movie is phenomenal. It is. And I think it is some of Ryan Reynolds' best work, probably his best work as Deadpool. In the previous two movies, felt like Deadpool come off the page, to certain degrees, but I feel like what they show in this movie at times is like the most Deadpool he's ever been. Similarly, how Hugh Jackman is the most Wolverine he's ever been. And that's not to say that when Ryan Reynolds is Deadpool and he's doing all his jokey jokes and stuff, much has always been the case with the first two movies. When it's time to get serious, things get serious. When it's time to get emotional, things get emotional. They find, once again, the perfect balance in this movie of, like, they find the line, right? There's a fine line between Deadpool just being over comical, over talkative, and being like an actual character, an actual human being, right? And they find it perfectly. They handle all of that, like all the emotional stuff. They're both dealing with emotional traumas and problems and issues, right? It's not just the Wolverine in this movie. Deadpool, as he often has in the past two movies, deals with relationship issues and all that stuff. And I thought the writing of it was great. I thought the writing in terms of how the story progressed, the way, like, the different twists and turns it took on their adventure, including when they go to the void and they go all Mad Max on us, right, that we see in the trailers. I really had no complaints from a writing standpoint. Like, I'm gonna have to see this again, right? But nothing sticks out as just like, oh, that's just bad writing, that's just lazy writing. Nothing really stuck out to me, man. The villain of this movie, Cassandra Nova, as you know, was in the trailers. I thought pretty damn good performance of Cassandra Nova. Like, when I think of Cassandra Nova from the comics, she's much more creepy. But they do, oh god, they do, that just reminded me. Yeah, they do some creepy stuff. I'll talk about it in the spoiler one, but they do some creepy, messed up stuff with Cassandra Nova in the utilization of her powers, in terms of not just doing the classic, Charles Xavier, then, or doing that like, nah. When it comes to how she invades your mind, it is much more invasive, and I will leave it at that, because there are certain scenes I was just like, I couldn't even look at the screen directly. I was just like, I can't. All right, no, it's still going on. Oh god, very effective use of Cassandra Nova. And an interesting arc that I wasn't expecting, that they take her on, and like they give her these little moments where you're just like, oh, you're not just completely evil. Because, like, my history with Cassandra Nova in the comics is very minimal. Like, I know the character, I know her backstory, I know at least one arc that she goes on that we saw in X-Men 97, but she wasn't in that. They pulled from the source material. So I know, like, some stuff about her, but in the comics, she always gave me, like, just, oh, she's just Charles's evil twin sister. But they do more than that in this film. And again, if she is more than that in the comics, let me know. I don't know. I'm not a Cassandra Nova fan, but they did a good job at just not having her be standard evil, or not clone, evil twin, and nothing more. No, they give her a little bit more. I did touch on the action in terms of Wolverine, but the action in general across the board, phenomenal, right? Like, you can never really complain about the action in the Deadpool movies, because, like, there's always an appreciation, it seems, in terms of, like, the coordination, the fight choreography, and, like, the different movement and stuff, in terms of the utilization of the swords and the gunplay, the gun fu. And this film has it has the perfect mixture of that, of all the Deadpool action sequences with Wolverine action sequences, and especially one particular fight, joining that together. It's beautiful. It's a one take, and I could watch it. I want to watch it again because it was amazing to watch. In terms of cameos, if you're going into this movie expecting a bunch of cameos, right? I will say, temper your expectations. There's some cameos in this movie that you might expect. Matter of fact, the final trailer flat out tells you one. If you haven't seen the final trailer, don't watch it because like it just came out. It was like a week out from the movie, and they put a huge spoiler appearance in it. And I'm just like, I didn't see it beforehand. A friend of mine saw it, and he didn't tell me what was in it, but he told me that a spoiler was in it, so I avoided it like the plague. And then I watched the trailer after I saw the movie, and I'm just like, wow, they put that in the trailer. Wow, that's just bad. That's stupid. What are they doing over there? So some cameos you might expect. Other cameos you might have heard rumors about. Some cameos might happen that you're just like, I did not expect that. I did not expect to see this person, right? And there's some funny utilization of the cameos in that it's not. I feel like with this whole multiverse thing, it can be real easy to just be like cameo. Pop in and say a line, keep it moving. They treat their cameos, they treat their multiverse cameos in this movie with much more respect, much more substance. I think that's the word I'm looking for. They treat it with much more substance, more along the lines of Spider-Man No Way Home, where like those weren't just cameos for the sake of cameos. There was cameos that served a purpose. And speaking of Spider-Man No Way Home, I've seen people already say that this movie is the best Marvel has been since Endgame. I would push back on that and say Spider-Man No Way Home is still the best since Endgame. And honestly, it might be a hot take. I might have Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 over this movie. I gotta sit on that, but the emotion, the emotional manipulation of Guardians Volume 3, like James Gunn still owes me money for that shit. He owes me for the tears that flew that day over some damn CGI animals, okay? So, I think if we're ranking the ones after Endgame, just the top three, I think it's No Way Home, Guardians Volume 3, I think as an overall movie, it is better than Deadpool Wolverine, and then Deadpool Wolverine is right there. But if you were to tell me that any of those three movies are the best since Endgame, it's an argument to be made, All in all, I have to say, Deadpool Wolverine is the movie that's going to save Marvel. I don't subscribe to this theory that one movie can save Marvel. No, the only thing that's going to turn the ship around at Marvel is sustained success, sustained quality, right? So the next thing that comes out is Agatha, what do they call it now? Agatha All Along, right? That's the next thing that comes out on Disney Plus. It's a show. And even that, I'm not even looking at that because that was a product of before Marvel kind of hit their reset button and were just like, okay, things are not working now, Brave New World, we got to reshoot like all the movie. Born Again, scrap it, we got to start over. Like Agatha was before that, it predates that. So if that's not good, I'm not gonna be like, Marvel's just trash again, right? Brave New World is the big one. It's the next movie after this. If Brave New World, even after they reshot the whole movie damn near, if Brave New World doesn't hit, got a problem, man. Got a problem. And then it's up to Thunderbolts and Fantastic Four. We got to see the sustained success of Marvel before we can say Marvel's back. Marvel's back on top, So that's just my little piece on that and my review as a whole of Deadpool and Wolverine. If I had to give it a grade, right, a score, I'd say 9 out of 10. I was going to say 9.5 out of 10, but I say 9 out of 10, right? Yeah, I'll give it a 9 out of 10. That's what I'm sitting on right now. One of the best Marvel movies since Endgame. One of the best Marvel movies. Honestly, I might even put this above some movies pre-Endgame, right? But that's a conversation for another day. Let me know what you guys thought, man. Did you see Deadpool and Wolverine? What are your thoughts? Non-spoiler in the comments below. If you have, man, are you going to see it? Let me know all that in the comments down below. And I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.